What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Star Wars Outlaws. We got the story trailer. I know I'm a few hours late at this point, but story trailer, developer, kind of commentary over that trailer, two different things. Honestly, we can talk about what we saw and then also what we heard, because I will say, if what we heard ends up, I guess, impacting us in the way that they say it does, this game can be quite good, okay? I think the game itself, just in the base trailer, looks good. It has a lot of promise to it, the kind of casual things like that. What they say about how your relationships with these different, kind of syndicates, right? How they'll play out and how they'll lock things and how they'll open up things. Look, I'm not saying I doubt it, right? Like as if it's not going to happen. That'd be quite bad. But again, that impact. If it's as cool as what it sounds like in my head, this could be a game of the year type game. I mean, it has, I think, the potential for that. So I want to do that. I want to start, though. There's two different things. There's the additions of the game, and I want to talk about that because that's a hot topic. And then also, just to really quickly throw this out, the internet access. So they say you need to be connected to the internet to play it basically for the first time, right? Because you need it to install the game, and if there's like a day one update or something like that, afterwards you will be able to play this game offline. Not going to sit here and say it's the greatest thing of all time. I'm also not going to sit here for like 10 minutes and complain about it. I'm a game preservation guy. I've become more and more into that, in the last few years. I'm not a big fan of connecting at all, to the internet to play a game. I would like it that you can just do it without that. But at the same time, it's the world we're living in. It's the reality we're moving into more and more often. So, again, I'm not going to say it's great. I don't think it's great. I don't think it's the worst thing of all time either. But I don't want to complain about it too much longer. So you have that. Okay, so let's talk about the additions of this game. Ubisoft went for it. And, I can respect some of it. I don't know if I respect all of it. So you got the standard edition, $70, right? So base price, the new model, the new price for it. Star Wars Outlaws Gold Edition. This is $110 US, right? Now, that's a good $40. So what do you get for the $40? Well, you get a pre-order bonus, and you also get 2 upcoming story pack DLCs. Those stories better be pretty big. $40 from one to the next. So really, to me, it rests on that story DLC. It needs to be meaty and it needs to be good, okay? Then you have the Ultimate Edition, which is the exact same thing as you get, with the other one. But it comes with the Ultimate Pack, which I believe is cosmetics, which you can kind of see, but I think they say it as well. Digital art book, and 3 days early access. And then they talk very briefly about what will be in the season pass. I mean, ultimately, it's going to have to be more fleshed out later, but the, Jabba mission or Jabba maybe expansion in general. So, it does sound kind of exciting, the story missions to it. I know a lot of companies, and look, like WB has done it. They did it for Suicide Squad. They did it for Hogwarts Legacy, and they got me in for Hogwarts Legacy. A lot of developers or publishers or whoever makes these calls will dangle, right, keys in front of our face and say, you want the game 3 days early? Pay us however much. Normally, it's like $10 to $20 more. This one is $130. So I guess this isn't entirely fair to look at it this way, but say you are, I just want to play it early. I just want to play the game early. I don't care about the other stuff. $60 more than the base version. Now, that's a little disingenuous, right, because it's not the whole story. You get the season pass, you get cosmetics. Now, to me, the cosmetics, throw it out there. I know cosmetics do matter to people. It's not a big deal to me. So I would be getting it for, the story stuff, but the 3-day early access, because really the difference between 110 and 130, $20, you're getting cosmetics that I don't care about. You're getting a digital art book. That's kind of cool. And then you're getting 3 days early access. That's a tough sell. It's definitely a tough sell. So I don't know. I might end up just getting the standard edition. We'll see what happens. But I wanted to throw it out there in case people were wondering. And that's not a part of the story trailer, right? So that you have that. And I guess, I actually forgot to mention this in the beginning. So the game's release date, it was leaked earlier in the day, but it is confirmed, right? So August 30th. So right at the end of the summer, heading into the fall. And I think that's a great spot for it. And that gives it enough space, by the way, that Assassin's Creed can kind of come in October or November. In terms of the trailer itself, I'm actually quite pleased in how they arranged it. I think they kind of told everything that they needed to. Now, there's still room, I think, to show. I know for sure. It's a more of an I know situation. They got to show more. I think what they did show last time was pretty impactful and kind of gives you an overall sense. I think we need kind of one more run through, and they'll show it, I'm sure, at Ubisoft Forward, right? But the way they organized it, obviously story trailers. So we get some syndicates, we get some characters, we get basically the Spark Notes version, right, of the story. So she crosses basically this leader of his own kind of bounty hunting faction. He's very, very rich. She needs to rob him to kind of pay for her freedom. She needs to go across multiple different planets and find different people to be part of her group, right, for this ultimate heist at the end. Okay, this is probably a stretch, but that premise, like the heist idea and gathering allies, very Sly Cooper like. I mean, that's literally what you do in Sly Cooper. You go around, you complete different world-like tasks, you normally get an ally, and then you're building up because everybody has their own speciality, and then they do something, at the end to help you do whatever the ultimate mission is. I mean, am I going to compare it every time to Sly? Maybe not, but it does give me off that vibes. And I really like it because, now again, here's the difference between what we heard and what we saw. What we saw was good. And I like that they used very much in-engine footage. Like when she's jumping and rolling, that's that's in the game. It's not cinematic or anything, but ultimately it gives you a better look at, okay, well, that's how rolling works. That's kind of how, it's just how it looks, how the game is going to kind of function. So I actually appreciate them doing that. We get a bunch of different characters. What they talk about in the developer diary is that more expansion part where, if you piss somebody off, right? If you do something for one group and then you betray them. They mentioned that once in that developer diary that if you were to say backstab them or betray them, they might actually send people to hunt you down, right? And based off your choices, you'll lock things kind of behind a wall where you won't be able to get to them, or you'll unlock things depending on maybe who you're better off with or who you're not better off with. That's the stuff that really excites me. And, they have a chance to kind of go pretty far with that, especially building up to a heist, right? Especially if they have some sort of systems where it's like there's 10 allies to get. You can get as many as you want as many as you can. You ideally want all 10, but you might not get all 10, right? Say allies. Just that simple premise. Now, technically, they didn't say that part, right? But I like the idea that things are going to be blocked or opened up depending on the choices that you make. The rest of it kind of would get carried by what we saw last year when they showed it off, right? Where you're making decisions in a dialogue-like situation. You're on the run. You get in your ship. You go into outer space, right? You're doing fights up there. You go and you have fights on land. That is what would carry the rest of the experience to me. But the idea of choices and consequences in this kind of big sandbox game, I get pretty excited for. So, again, I think those things will be in the game. I'm not doubting the fact that they'll be in it, but how good they will be, right? Because something can sound very good saying it out loud, and that's ultimately what it was. I think what we saw was good/great. If I were to rate the story trailer, I'd give it like a 7.5 to an 8.5, somewhere in that range. What we heard would, 9.5. It's more exciting to me what we heard than what we saw. I think I would say that as a fact for my own opinion. The issue is things can sound very good. Things can read very good. Things can be told to you, through hearing very good. But ultimately, they have to execute it. So I'm definitely more excited for this game than I was yesterday, right? I think it can be a Game of the Year contender. We'll see if it is. And they got more time, and I don't really think we need to see too much more. You show us some gameplay at the Ubisoft Forward event, and then after that, you kind of coast through, and then the game comes out. And it's going to be pretty fast. It'll be here before you know it. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.